Radha Bihari Jiu ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu ki jai. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Jai Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai. Jai Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan ki jai. Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Shri Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sadgoswami Prabhu ki jai. Srila Swarup Damodar Roy Ramanandari Gaur Parsada Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sibaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Shri Shri Navadvip Dham ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Govardhan Varshvanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham ki jai. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu ki jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Kshetra Dham ki jai. Shri Vishva Vaishnava Raj Sabha ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Tribhuvana Pavana Harinam Sankirtana ki jai. Tribhuvana Mangala Harinam Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Sachinanda Gaura Hari ki jai. Shri Nityananda Mahajana ki jai. Shri Panchatattva ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Shri Damodar Vrata ki jai. Shri Urja Vrata ki jai. Shri Kartik Vrata ki jai. Shri Niyam Seva ki jai. Shri Braj Mandala Parikrama ki jai. Transcendental Braj Mandala Parikrama book ki jai. Shri Gurudev ki jai. All glory to the assembled devotees. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Giram Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namni gaura tishe namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jayatam Shuruto Pangor Mamamandamatergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madanamohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Shrimad Ratnagara Singhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Krishdalabhi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasarasaramhi Vam Shivata Tatakstitaha Karshanavenu Sunair Gopir Gopinata Shriyestunaha Angashyamali Nachatha Birabito Mandi Kritendi Puram Jadyam Jagudarochisam Vidadatam Pattam Varasya Shriya Vrindaranya Nivasanam Hridila Saddama Viramodaram Radha Skandani Veshito Jalabhujam Dhyayem Damodaram Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshay Kiptascha Kamari Taranga Madhye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most beloved Diksha Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarashata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Sto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And my Dandavat Pranams to all of my Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, and my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So yesterday, we were continuing to read the various quotations from various Vedic Shastras describing the word Braja. And the last one that we read was Sri Sanatana Goswami. He has explained the meaning of Vrindavan in the following way. Vrindasya samuhasya avanam rakshanam palanam yasmat tat Vrindavanam. Yasmat tat Vrindavanam means it is called, that is the meaning of the word Vrindavan. So this is the translation of that one line. That place which maintains, nourishes, and protects everyone is called Vrindavan. Vrindasya samuhasya, that means in Vrindavan, samuhasya, all the persons. Avanam, rakshanam, palanam. So avanam means maintaining, rakshanam means protecting, and palanam means nourishing. So, the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, this land of Vrindavan conceals its godly nature. What is the godly nature? It is called Bhagavad Bhav. Bhagavad Bhav. So you cannot understand, like we discussed yesterday, that Krishna is Bhagavan. Because why? Because it's concealed. It conceals this all the time. And lovingly, this Vrindavan maintains the herds of cows and calves and the society of gopas and gopis. So, when we heard the call for all the living entities in the whole world, in the whole universe, to come back to home, back to Godhead, this is that place. This is the society of the gopas and gopis. This is the herds of cows and calves. That is what we call Godhead. Back to home, back to Godhead. So the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, being controlled by their love. Whose love? All these society of gopas, gopis, cows, calves. He, being controlled by their love, does not leave Vrindavan even for a moment. Vrindavanam prityaja sakvachin naiva gacchati. Not even for a moment. Now, this is actually quoted in the Lagu Bhagavatamritam also of Srila Rupa Goswami and Chaitanya Charitamrita Anjalila, chapter 1, verse 67. This statement is made there. Vrindavanam prityaja sakvachin naiva gacchati. This Sri Krishna, he does not leave Vrindavan even for a moment. So, it is sure and certain that if you make it to Vrindavan, you're going to meet Krishna. And if you don't make it to Vrindavan, you'll never meet Krishna anywhere else. Not that son of Mother Yashoda, Krishna, no. Only if you go to Vrindavan, you can find him there. He'll also find you, if you make it that far. It's like Gopakumar. Krishna approached him. Now, there's a personality who's very famous in Braja. His name is Sri Narayan Bhatta. At the time around when the 6 Goswamis, he's also one of the authorities, and he wrote a book about Vrindavan and all the holy places throughout Braj Mandala. Very great, exalted, pure Vaishnava. And we went to the place where his samadhi is in our Braj Mandala Parikrama. I can't quite remember right now which place that was. It's a little village area. Like all of the like Goswami families and the Pandas of all the holy places, they all revere Narayan Bhatta. And his book is one of the main authorities from which Gurudev has taken so much. So, in his book, It doesn't say the name of it, but we know it's in the introduction to this book. So Sri Narayan Bhatta, he describes the land of Braja as enchanting. And he expresses this with exquisite feelings. Now, whenever Srila Gurudev is quoting Braj Bhasha language, or also Hindi, great Vaishnavas who have written in Hindi, and then it's only if we could only understand that we could also fully taste, but still we can taste something. So he's describing this land of Braja in an enchanting way, and he's expressing this with exquisite feelings. So he says there, Braja Bhumi Mohini Me Jani Mohini Kunj Mohan Shri Vrindavan Mohan Jamuna Pani Mohini Nari Sakal Gokul Ki Bolti Mohini Bani Shri Bhatta Ke Prabhu Mohan Nagar Mohini Radharani. What does this mean? That Brajabhumi Mohini Me Jani. The Brajabhumi is Mohini, enchanting. Mohini Kunj, Mohan Shri Vrindavan. Oh, the kunjas, the groves, are Mohini, enchanting. Shri Vrindavan, Mohan Jamuna Pani. Shri Vrindavan is enchanting, and the waters of the Yamuna are enchanting. Mohini Nari Sakal Gokul Ki Bolti Mohini Bani. Mohini Nari, all the women in every part of Gokul, Sakala Gokul, Ki Bolti Mohini Bani. They are enchantresses who speak in an enchanting way. He's using the word Mohan and Mohini again and again. Finally, at the end, he says, this Sri Bhatta, Narayan Bhatta, Sri Bhatta's master and mistress, Sri Bhatta Ke Prabhu Mohan Nagara Mohini Radharani. Who is his master? Mohan Nagara. Who's Mohan Nagara? Brajabara Nagara, Yasomati Nandana, Brajabara Nagara, Gokula Ranjana Kana. So, Mohan Nagara, he's saying, my master is that Nagara, that Mohan. And also, that Nagari, that Mohini. Who? Radharani. So that's the verse that he quotes, Gurudev, to describe how enchanting is Braja. Now, we've completed the first section of this first part, which is called the nature of Braja. Now Gurudev is moving on to describing where is this Braja? If you have a map, the map has border lines, right? What are the borders of Braja? Now we will learn. So Braja Mandala extends for about 168 miles. You can remember that figure. I keep on forgetting it.
You mean circumference?
It doesn't say circumference, but these are square miles. These are square miles. 168 square miles. What is a square mile? 1 mile by 1 mile. So if you put 168 of them together in squares, that's the size of the area inside of the borders of Brajmandala. And, the kosha term is used here in miles. What is a kosha? It's 84 kosha. Okay? So
Oh, they have
you
to.
have to divide 84 into 168 miles. Something like that.
It's exactly half of the
Is it exactly half?
84 plus
84 into 168?
So,
Yeah,
oh, so
that's exactly half.
yeah.
So now the Garga Samhita, Kanda 2, it states the following. What is the Garga Samhita? Do you know this book? You heard of this book before? We have it in English. Why is it called Garga Samhita? Who was the priest of the Yadu dynasty? Garga Acharya Garga Muni. So he has written an amazing book all about Krishna's pastimes in Braja. It's called Garga Samhita. Here's his quotation. Pragutityam bahir shado. Pragutityam bahir shado. Dakshinasyam yado purat. Paschimayam shonita puran. Maturam mandalam vidu. Okay. Maturam mandalam vidu. So he's using the term Mathura Mandala. That land between Bahir Shad, or another name, Barhada. Barhada is probably the name that it's known by now, because this is written 5,000 years ago. So the land between Bahir Shad in the northeast and Yadupur, the village Bateshwar of Shurasen in the south, and Shonitpur, Sonhada in the west, and which measures 84 koshas, has been called Mathura Mandala or Braja by the learned persons. There's a personality who's named F.S. Grouse. He's written a book, Mathura, a district memoir. So this looks like it was one of the British scholar type persons. And he wrote this book called Mathura, a district memoir, and he quotes the following verse. Iti Barhad, iti Sonahad, ut Sursen Kagaon. But maybe it's not a British person. At least he wrote in English, though. Sometimes it's hard to tell by the last name. So, iti Barhad, iti Sonahad, ut Sursen Kagaon, Braj Chaurashi Kos. Chaurashi Kos. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
That's the term in Hindi for what?
84.
84. Chaurashi Kosh. 84 koshas. Braj Chaurashi Kosh me Mathura Mandalaman. So here he's also telling about the borders. He's saying on one side is Bara, on another side Sona, on the third side the town of Shurasen. These are the limits of the Braj Chaurashi, the Mathura circle. Now it is clear from this couplet that Bara marks the boundary of one side of Braja. Shonhada marks another side, and Bateshwara, or the village of Shurasen, marks the boundary on the third side. So Bara is situated in the present district of Aligarh, in the northeast corner of Braj Mandala. So we've gone to Aligarh before. Then Sonhada lies in the present district of Gurgaon in the state of Haryana. We know Gurgaon. When you drive from Vrindavan to Delhi, you go through. But that's the new city named Gurgaon. So there's also a district called Gurgaon. And this is in the northwest corner of Braj Mandala. Its ancient name is Shonitpur. The village of Shurasen is the village of Bateshwara in the revenue district of Baha. So the area between these places is called Braj Mandala. So if we were looking on a Hindi map, we would see all these different names. So the borders of Braj Mandala are also mentioned in the Brahmanda Purana. According to this Purana, Hasyavan lies in the east of Braj Mandala, Janhuvan in the south, Parvataman in the west, and Surya Patanavana in the north. So corresponding to this description, Hasanagadha of the Agra district, which lies in the east, is known as Hasyavan. In the west, Bahari Gram near Kamyavan in Rajasthan is known as Parvatavan. In the south, Jajau Gram of the Dholapur revenue district is famous as Janhu, and in the north, near Javara Gram of the Aligarh district, lies Surya Patanavana. Now, this is interesting to read this, because these are the facts. No one else in the whole world can describe a holy dham, which the transcendental spiritual world descended onto the mundane plane from this corner to this corner, and that mandala, that circle, is the spiritual world. Can any other religious people say that? They can try. Oh, the Holy Land, this, that. In the Middle East, the Holy Land. But no, this, we're talking about yugas. Yugas. And it has not changed. And it will never change. This is that Dham. So, in the 84 kosas of Braj Mandala, there are 48 different forests called vanas, which includes also sub-forests. You know what a sub-forest is called? A vana is a forest. And what is a sub-forest? Within the vana, there can also be upavanas. Yes, upavana. So I remember when I was first coming to the Braj Mandala Parikram, I heard them tell, or maybe I even read it in one of the books, when you say the Jaya Dvani, you know, you say, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvarasha Vanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai. So Dvadasha Vanatmaka means 12 forests, because we know that there's eternally 12 forests in Braj Mandala. But then after that, they had Dvadasha Upavan Ki Jai. So I used to say that. And in the Braj Mandala book, you can read the names of the 12 sub-forests. So now, Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga, Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Govinda Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Radha. So now, there's not only 12 forests, vanas, and 12 upavanas, sub-forests, but guess what else there is? Prativanas and adhivanas. So these 12 forests in the 84 kosas of Braj Mandala, there are 48 different forests in Braj Mandala. Because there's 12 forests, 12 upavans, 12 prativans, and 12 adivans. So 12 times 4 is 48. According to the Padma Purana, there are 12 principal forests situated east and west of the Yamuna. So how old is the Padma Purana?
It's before the
But Srimad Bhagavatam tells
Yes, all the Puranas were written before the Bhagavatam. So they're quoting from ancient scriptures of which there's no comparison on this earth planet. And in that Padma Purana is describing the 12 principal forests situated east and west of the Yamuna. Here we go. Number 1. Everyone can say the name after I say it. Mahavan,
Mahavan,
Kamyavan,
Kamyavan,
Madhuvan,
Madhuvan,
Talvan,
Talavan,
Kumudvan,
Gudvan,
Bandirvan,
Mandirvan,
Brindavan,
Vrindavan,
Kadirvan,
Katirvan,
Lohavan,
Lohavan,
Badravan,
Bhadravan,
Bahulavan,
Bahulavan,
and Bailvan.
Belvan.
You know where Bailvan is?
Right across the
Across the river.
Yes. You can stand on the rooftop of Rup Sanatan or Gopinath Bhavan, and you can look across, and it's just all fields. On one side of the Yamuna, it's all cement, dwellings, endlessly, right? On the other side, none. None at all. Not even one. It's all fields, right? And then in the distance, you can see the clumps of trees standing up in the distance from there. And that's Bailvan. And so on the Vrajmandal Prikrama, one of the days before we leave Vrindavan, right? To go to, we go, nowadays they just go to Govardhan. They transport all the people and all their luggage and everything, they go to Govardhan. But previously we went to other places, Kamyavan here and there, when there were smaller groups with Gurudev. From 94 I went the first time. So we probably stayed in at least 8 different small little ashrams and all of that. And we didn't get much English in those days. Yeah, we didn't have an official translator. And we got little bits and pieces, scraps thrown to us, you know. So, so what is that place? What's there in that little village? Now it's just a little village, Bailvan. But actually Bailvan, that whole area, is one of the 12 forests of Braj. And each of the 12 forests are very large. But nowadays, we don't go to each and every one of the 12 forests like physically there, but from a certain place, we will stand in that direction and pay our obeisances to that forest. You know, in the Navadvip Dham Parikrama, there are 9 islands, right? And our parikrama goes on usually for 5 days, but some persons also do the parikrama for 9 days. But because our parikrama with so many thousands of people is somewhat shortened, so when they go on the parikrama from, Gurudev's Mutt, cross the Yamuna, and they go to Godrumadvip on that day, and then after that, where do they go? Do you remember? Not immediately after. You go to Gurudev, they go to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, his place of samadhi, which is called Swananda Sukhata Kunja. And the place before that, that's after. First they go to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's place called
Surabhi Kunj.
Surabhi Kunj, yes, Surabhi Kunj. And that's, of course, the place where the famous pastime Lord Nityananda narrated.
Gudrum.
In Gudrum, yes, in the island of Gudrum, about Markandeya Rishi floating in the waters of devastation, and Surabhi Devi came there to Navadvip to worship Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Yeah.
And Shiva came.
And way before. Yeah, but we're going in the order. First of all, that place, Surabhi Kunj. Then comes Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. Then we go to, so what's it called? The king.
Govinda saying it's Vijayanagar?
What? Vijayanagar? No. That's a different island. Suvarna Bihar. And there's a Gaudiya Math established during Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's time there. Suvarna Bihar. Nice structure, very nice deities. From there, we go to Harihara Kshetra. And then from there, we go to Nishringapalli. So all of this is Godram Dweep. But there's also, after Godram Dweep, from there, Nishringapalli, then there's that long walk, or bus ride, or taxi ride, all the way back to Gurudev's Mutt. But along the way, there's that long straight, like a highway almost.
Yeah. Over the bridge.
And there is Madhyadweep. So sometimes in the past, they used to walk, and there's no particular marking there. They would sit on the side, and then they'd read a couple of the pastimes from the Navdeep Dan Parikrama book. Then they'd move on and get back to the town. It's the longest day. That's a long day, and if you're real rugged, you can do it barefoot. And I tried only one time because I was finished after that. But there are such that are very rugged and able, especially those who grow up in New Braj, walking around as children, never wearing any shoes.
It
Huh?
helps.
Yeah, it
So
sure
many
does.
Sharp sticks, leaves.
So anyway, Bailvan is the place of what? Lakshmi
Denukas.
Devi. Lakshmi Devi. And what did she do there?
She prayed to enter Ras Leela.
Prayed and did what?
Prayed that she'd be able to enter Ras Leela.
Right. Did she do any austerities? Lots. In fact, they say she's still doing them. And what happened when she was doing that? Who came there? Yogamaya. And, oh, Lakshmi Devi, how can I serve you? Oh, I want to enter Ras Leela of my husband. So, yeah, it's possible if you can do certain things. And what were the certain things?
Marry another Gopa.
that's the one that was not possible for her.
Even making a cow.
Yeah, making cow dung patties and like this, okay, although she's a princess, eternal queen, royalty, okay, I can make some cow dung patties, But when it came to the point of marrying another Gopa and having another so-called husband, no, sorry, you can't do that. So she could not enter. And that is authoritatively quoted in Srimad Bhagavatam by the gopis. Yes. Even Lakshmi cannot. So Belvan, very special place, right near to where Gurudev's home, Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Mat, Gopinath Bhavan, right near. So, we've mentioned the names of these 12 forests, and here Gurudev is saying that these 12 forests are divided. And some of these 12 forests lie on the western side. How many? 7. 7 of the 12 forests lie on the western side of Yamuna Devi. And the remaining 5 lie on the eastern side. So, the eastern side is the side across from Vrindavan. And those forests, those 5 forests, are said to be under who? Whose superintendence those 5 forests are under?
On the east side?
On the eastern side. Balaram. Balaram. And one of those main places there, one of those main places is called Dauji. Do you remember Dauji? Yes. Very interesting. And that deity of Dauji, he's like in Braj Mandala, he's Dauji. The town's named Dauji. The deity is from 5,000 years ago. He's one of those original deities installed by Vajranabha. Very powerful place. So those 5 forests on the eastern side of Yamuna are called Bhadravan, Bhadra, and Krishna, Balaram is also called Balabhadra. So Bhadravan, Bandirvan, Bailvan, Lohavan, and Mahavan. What is Mahavan? Gokul, Mahavan. Yes. So they're all situated on the Yamuna's eastern side. And the other 7 forests are under who? Who's the superintendent of the other 7 forests? Krishna. Yes, Krishna. Yes, so of the 12 forests, 7 lie on the western side of the Yamuna. What are they? Give you a hint. It's the first place during the parikrama where we get on the buses. No? Well, that Mathura is separate from the... It's in, of course, Mathura is the center of Braj Mandala, but that parikrama takes place before Kartik begins. Yeah. Although this year I was shown on Facebook some schedule that they're doing this year. Very unusual schedule. Because they're starting, usually the Mathura section starts 10 to 14 days before Kartik, and then they're based in Mathura at Gurudev's Keshaji Gaudiya Math, you know. And that also consists of going to many people's houses and homes and doing Sankirtan and Katha. So this year it's kind of like mixed together. Anyway, of these 12 forests, the 7 forests on the western side of Yamuna are Madhuvan, Talvan, Kumudvan, Bahulavan, Kamyavan, Kadirvan, and Vrindavan. Now the Varaha Purana, it mentions 12 Upavans, sub-forests, right? They are Brahmavan, Apsaravan, Vivalavan, Kadambavan, Svarnavan, Surabhivan, Premavan, Mayurvan, Manengitavan, Sheshaivan, Naradavan, and Paramanandavan. It may be that the Sheshaivan, there's a place that we go to. Do you remember? It's enclosed, kind of like a walled-in area out in the middle of the fields. And when we walk across the fields, then there is like a small structure there, and there's a deity on the altar of Krishna lying on Sheshanag. And there's a pond right next to there, a small pond. Before you enter into the opening to go into this walled-in area, that place is called... it's one of the places where Krishna's imprints on the rocks and places. Gurudev was very, very serious about this place, how authentic it is. Yeah, and there you see a very big footprint, and it's underneath a mandap, you know. But next to that building, before you enter, is a pond, and that's where the pastime took place, where Krishna was telling to the gopis, do you know that actually I am Ananta, and I am Vishnu? And so that whole pastime took place, and then he manifested there. Yes, that's a very special pastime. So now, after the Upavans, the Bhavishya, so that was in the Varaha Purana. Now the Bhavishya Purana. What does Bhavishya mean? That's an interesting Purana for devotees who like to know future events, especially astrological devotees. Bhavishya means the future. It will come. What will be? Bhavishya. What will be? So in that Bhavishya Purana, it mentions the following 12 prativanas. Rankavan, Vartavan, Karahavan, Kama, not Kamya, but Kamavan, Anjanavan, Karnavan, Krishnakshi Panavan, Krishnakshi Panavan, Nanda Prekshan Krishnavan, Indravan, Shikshavan, Chandravalivan, and Lohavan. So now finally, in the Vishnu Purana, describes the following 12 Adhivans. Mathura. So Mathura was also forest. Mathura is an Adhivan. Radhakunda, Nandagaon, Gadha, Lalita Gram, Vrishavanupur, Gokul, Balabhadravan, Govardhan, Javat, Vrindavan, and Shanketvan. This adds up to 48 forests in all. You can see in this last category, most of those names are familiar to us, huh? Shanket, Vrindavan, Javat, Govardhan, Vrishavanupur, Varshana, Gokul, Nandagaon. Yeah. Now, how to observe Braj Mandala Parikrama? How to do it? So the first section is called Vow at Vishram Ghat. Where's Vishram Ghat? Yeah, but that's the place, Vishram, where Krishna did what?
He took bath after killing the demon and all these
Kamsa.
things.
After he
Yeah.
killed Kamsa.
Yeah.
He went to the bank of the Yamuna and he took bath, washed his hands. And what happened when Krishna was there? On the bank, the gopis who were upstream in Vrindavan, in Nandagaon area, at that time Yamuna was flowing, the gopis were weeping in separation from Krishna. And their tears floated from there to this place. Actually, the term Vishram means to take rest. After killing Kamsa, Krishna took rest there. And there he took these tears on his head, on his chest, and he could perceive and feel the gopis' separation there. So that place on the bank of the Yamuna River in Mathura has, I think, 24 bathing ghats. That's described in the Mathura section. They each have a name. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first came to Vrindavan, he first went there to Mathura, to that place. So before starting the Vrajamandala Parikrama, one should take a vow, a sankalpa, at Vishram Ghat in Mathura. So every year we would walk with kirtan from Keshavji Gaudiya Math to the bank of the Yamuna there. And there's so many steps going down. You can see photos of Gurudev there with all the devotees surrounding. Then later on, this was changed to the Yamuna, just out near to Gopinath Bhavan. This vow should be made through the medium of a Vaishnava devoted to bhajan. So that's the first category. Through the medium of a Vaishnava devoted to bhajan. You should take the vow through such a person. Then, the next category, any devotee. Means he's a devotee, Krishna Bhakta. Then, next category, Tirtha Guru. Or Brajavasi priest. Right? Who is simple-hearted. Tirtha Guru, Vrajavasi priest who is simple-hearted, who is also learned in scriptures and philosophical principles, virtuous, merciful, non-envious, and non-avaricious. When the vow is taken, parikrama may begin. So that's when we would stand in the Yamuna holding flower, in hand and taking the water of Yamuna and holding it and then repeating after, usually Tirtha Maharaj was leading that. And there's a whole recitation. Who said that? I think Jai Govinda said he has that. You said you have that, Jai Govinda? You have that?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's on the Arching Deepika.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's right there. So we used to read it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should read it.
Yeah.
We should read it. Okay. But now you're going to have the...
Yeah, I'm about to do it.
Yeah.
We can do it right now if you want, Marsh. I can find it.
You have the book?
Yeah.
Or okay.
I have the book. I have
Yeah,
it.
I'll read that.
Okay.
It's an interesting vow because the time and the place where you're taking the vow is important. So in the Sanskrit, it's being mentioned, which time are you taking this vow? And what is the time?
You actually have the
In
apps.
the day of Brahma, in the such and such Manu, in the Chatur Yuga, number such and such, right? And like that. And then it comes to where you are and under whose guidance you are. Gurudev's name is mentioned, and other gurus' names mentioned, and everybody's standing and repeating after him. And then it comes to mentioning one's own name.
This is the whole one.
Yeah.
The apps, and this is the translation.
Okay.
And that is updated for this whole kalpa, like the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Okay.
this whole one.
Can you bring that lamp that's on the table?
I can bring it up.
Yeah. It's the small one. It's the small one there. There's such dim light here. My eyes can't see it. So, yes, one goes and takes a vow there. So, and also this description has other auspicious, just plug it into this white cord here. Okay, so this is the mantras that are chanted. This is chanted as the sankalpa before any auspicious vrat or any religious undertaking. So I'll say it and you just repeat after me, okay? And then after that we'll just read the word for word translation. Om Vishnu,
Om Vishnu,
Om Tat Sat,
Om Tat Sat,
Adya Brahmano,
Adya Brahmana,
Dvitiya Parardhe, Shveta Varaha Kalpe,
Shveta Varaha Kalpe,
Padma Kalpe,
Padma Kalpe,
Vaivasvatakya,
Vaivasvatakya,
Manvantare
Manvantare
Ashtavimshati
Ashtavimshati
Kali Yugasya
Kali Yugasya
Pratama
Pratama
Sandhyayam
Samyayam
Brahma
Brahma
Vimshato
Vimshato
Vartamanayim
Vartamanayim
Samvatsare
Samvatsare
Ayane
Ayane
Rito
Vito
Pakshe
Pakshe
Rashi Stite
Rashishate
Bhaskare
Bhaskare
Titao
Titao
Varan
Varam
Vitayayam
Vidayayam
Nakshatra
Nakshatra
Samyutayam
Samyutayam
Shri
Shri
Chandramasi
Chandramasi
Yata
Yata
Stanavastite
Sanavastate
Bhaumadi
Bhavamadi
Graha Yoga
Yoga
Karana
Karana
Muhurta
Murta
Shakadishu
Shakadishu
Jambudvipe
Jambudvipe
Bharatakande
Bharatakande
Medhi
Medhi
Bhutasya
Bhutasya
Sumero
Sumeru
Dakshine
Dakshine
Lavanarnava
Lavanarnava
Asyottare
Ashuttare
Kone
Kone
Gangaya
Gangaya
Paschime
Paschime
Bhage
Bhage
Purana Bhumo Purana Bhumo Shri Shalagram Shila
Shishagram Shila
Go Brahmana
Go Brahmana
Vaishnava
Vaishnava
Vani
Vani
Sannidhau
Sanidao
Asmin
Asmin
Vishishte
Vishishte
Bharata
Bharata
Varshakya
Varshakya
Punya Bhu
Punyabhu
Pradeshe
Pradeshe
Gotrasya
Gotasya
Dasaha.
Dasaha
This is where one mentions their own name. But I'm going to read the other, so then we can do it with the translation part. Krishna Bhakti
Krishna Bhakti
Labharte
Labharte
Radha Dasyam
Radhadasyam
Labharte
Labharte
Sarvesham
Sarvesham
Kalyanarte
Kalyanarte
Tata
Tata
Bhagavat Priti
Bhagavat Priti
Arte
Arte
Shri Shri Guru Gauranga
Shri Guru Gauranga
Gandharvika
Gandharvika
Giridhari
Giridhari
Radha
Radha
Vinod Bihari Ji
Vinod Bihari Ji
Prityarte
Prityarte
Shraddha Karmane
Shraddha Karmane
Vaishnav Havanam
Vaishnav Bhavanam
Cha
Cha
Bhagavat Pujanam
Bhagavat Pujanam
Yatha Sadhya
Yatha Sadhya
Maya Kriyate.
Maya Kriyate.
So the first word Om Vishnu means auspicious invocation. Om Vishnu. Om Tat Sat, indicating the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adya Brahmano Dvitiya Prararde. It means during the second half of the present Brahma's life. Shveta Varaha Kalpe, during the Shveta Varaha or the Padma millennium. Vaivasvatakya Manvantare, during the reign of Vaivasvata Manu. This is the time that we're living in right now also. Then Ashtavimshati Kali Yugasya means during the 28th Kali Yuga. Did you know that we are in the 28th Kali Yuga? Out of how many?
1,000
Yes, in the day of Brahma.
cycles.
Okay, Pratama Sandhyayam means during the first part of what? No, Brahma Vimshato Vartamanayam, during the present period of time according to Brahma's calculation. Yata Ayane, during the appropriate course of the sun. Yata Nama Shubha Samvatsare, in this auspicious year. Rito, during the appropriate season. Masi, in the appropriate month. Pakshe, during the appropriate phase of the moon. Rashi Stite Bhaskare, in the appropriate sun sign. Tito, on the appropriate lunar day. Varan Vitayayam, on the appropriate day of the week. Nakshatra Samyutayam, during the appropriate constellation. Shri Chandramasi Yata Stanavastite Bhaumadi Graha Yoga Karana Muhurta Shakadishu, during the moon situated in the appropriate zodiac sign with the influential planets in their appropriate positions and during the appropriate time and year. Jambudvipe, now it's where? On the island called Jambudvip. They don't know that, the scientists, but we are living on Jambudvip. Bharatakande, that means in the part of Jambudvip called Bharat. Yes. Mahabhutasya Sumero Dakshine, on the earth, south of the Sumeru mountain. Prabhupada saw that mountain when he was flying over the Alps in the airplane. He told that. You did not see it? Prabhupada didn't see it. Why? Because you have to have transcendental eyes to see that. Yes, so Lavadar Navas Yotare Kone, in the northern corner of the salty ocean. Gangaya Paschime Va Anyasmin Bhage, on the western side or the other side of the Ganga. Purana Bhumo, in the very pure land between the Ganga and the Yamuna rivers. Sri Shalagram Shila Go Brahmana Vaishnava Vanni Sannidho, in the presence of Sri Shalagram Shila, the cows, the Brahmins, the Vaishnavas, sacred fire, etc. Asmin Vishishte Bharata Varshakya Punya Bhu Pradeshe, in the special land called Bharat, also known as the district of the earth which is very pious. Achyuta Gotrasya, of the name of one's dynasty. In India, people know their dynasty. Gotra. Dasaha comes one name. Everyone say their name. Everyone say their own name. Padmanabha Swami. Krishna Bhakti Labharte. Why? For the purpose of attaining Krishna Bhakti. Radha Dasyam Labharte, for the purpose of attaining Radha Dasyam. Sarvesham Kalyanartha, for all types of kalyana, auspiciousness. You remember how Gurudev would say? Well, sometimes Gurudev was given his blessing like this. You remember? There's a deity that was in Alachua of Gurudev that was done before Gurudev left the planet by Raghunath. Yeah. And his hand is like this. Because Gurudev very often he would Kalyana number 2. May you be all auspicious. Tata, as well as Bhagavat Priti Artha, out of love and devotion for the Lord. Then Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Vinod Bihari Priti Artha, out of love and devotion for Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Vinod Bihari Ji. Shraddha Karmane, for the purpose of homage to the deceased. Vaishnave Havanam Cha Bhagavat Pujanam, for the purpose of a Vaishnava sacrifice, fire sacrifice and worship of the Lord. Yata Sadhya, as the objective, Maya, by me, Kriyate, is performed. Gaur Premanand. Shri Braj Mandala Parikrama Ki Jai. Parikrama Kori Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Ramcha Kalpaturu Vishta Kivasa Guru Vishta Patikaram Bhagavata Vaishnavi Namo Namah. You want to sing today?